I think in the last game we had them on stream, I think they were on the purple side.
They were indeed, because the Cassidy was the last pick.
Yes, that's true, actually. So I wonder if, I mean, everyone talks about the blue side and the win percentage that's on that map. It's substantial, you know, it's not massive, it's not like, no, 90-10 or anything like that, but there is certainly, people seem to win more games on the blue side than the red side, or the purple side, so I wonder if that's going to make any difference here for SK, but you know MYM came here to play, and Elise here is going to be the first ban out for SK, Nidalee there as well, and Vi already banned out here from MYM as well. Jarvan very quickly, actually, these teams are going through the draft, so everybody seems to know what they don't want to play against here.
And EG's bans against MYM last game, for those who've been following our stream, Rumble, Xinjiao, and Vi were all taken out. It looks like, I mean, Vi actually, the MYM ban this time, they ran double global, they ran Twisted Fate and Nocturne to devastating effect, so taking away one global here, probably a very good move from SK.
Yep, so that's no Twisted Fate there, and no Xinjiao. Alright, Kale, alright, there we go, Kale.
And that's more of what we expected to see yesterday, but Kale was consistently getting to, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th pick territory.
I think she may have even dropped through a couple of drafts, which is just crazy to think about, especially on this patch, but we're going to have Rumble and we're going to have Soda here for the first few pickups for MYM, and Rumble, again, we've talked about it a lot actually already in this tournament, but he is a champion that's just seeing more and more respect, I think. Kind of almost back to the Season 1 days where Rumble was, in Europe especially, just pick this guy or die.
And when it comes to Rumble, the other word we've been using to describe comps has been space control, and they already have the Equalizer and Crescendo available for AoE CC, and on Rumble's side especially AoE damage.
Yep, that's going to give Shen over here potentially to SK though. They've already got Kale, they're thinking about Shen here as well. Herkwart does play quite a good jungle Shen, so it's not necessarily a pick that's going to go straight to top there for Kevin, although Kevin also has quite the pedigree on that ninja as well. So we'll have to see what SK want to go with here. They've got about 15 seconds left. And they're going to go Misfortune as their AD carry. Give that one to Candy Panda.
They tried out the Tristana last game. It didn't really work when we saw Candy Panda break out the Tristana. Still, of course, the old version of Blade of the Ruined King, so not quite the same Tristana synergy with the new item there. But Misfortune, we all know what she does. We've seen a lot of Misfortunes this tournament build around their ultimate. I mean, double Bloodthirster was actually quite a common pickup, you know, into the last Whisper for ult damage. So Kale to give intervention, Shen potentially to teleport. A very good utility for this Misfortune pick.
Yeah, and we go a little bit old school now on the MYM side. We've got Twitch, a very popular AD carry in recent tournaments. That's going to go there for Meet Your Makers, but Dr. Mundo is in the house.
I mean, Dr. Mundo, he's been nerfed. He's been nerfed a few times, of course, a few months ago now, but he's still a very strong anti-carry tank, and he's very good at running at the AD carry and soaking up damage with this, you know, the health stacking build that he's going to employ. And he's still a tank with poke, and the ability to have poke and CC, you know, ranged abilities on such a strong tank, I think he'll always be at least around the peripheries of the competitive scene.
Yep, and the last few picks here, we're actually going to have... No, sorry, my bad. We have Kale mid. That would make sense. Zara here is a support pickup for SK, and Kevin's going to go back to something that he's pretty comfortable with, and that is going to be Aurelia here.
But the Xerath lock-in, the champion who's seen a lot of play in NA recently, Froggen actually played Xerath against Meet Your Makers, and you know, things didn't come together, but Meet Your Makers, clearly they also see something in the Xerath pick.
Yeah, I mean obviously Reginald's been playing in the North American LCS. I actually was browsing Twitter earlier before we started, and Darius apparently said, I don't know how serious he was, but he said Xerath is OP, and wanted...
That's the sentiment out there in NA pastry time, and we can see exactly what will happen in fights here. I mean, Xerath's gonna lock down and go for that extra range with the W ability. Twitch is gonna activate his ultimate. You know, Rumble and Mundo are the bruisers here, and do SK have the dive? I think really the big thing here, how strong can Kevin get on Shen? Oh, sorry, on Aurelia.
Yeah, it is going to be Shen jungle, as kind of expected there, especially after the Aurelia pick. But yeah, I don't know, because Aurelia, as always, has to fight through a lot of CC. I mean, there's Rumble there, there's Xerath there, as you noted, even Mundo cleavers and Sona's ult. I mean, Aurelia, once...
if you were ever going to go for an anti-carry who can build damage, who can build full tank, who has that innate CC reduction, Aurelia's the right pick to get to this backline. And if she has the items, if she can win lane and snowball from there, I really like SK's comp to deal with the ultimate long-range nukers, the Twitch Xerath combo.
Otherwise, you think MYM's just going to siege them to death? Because they got, as you noted, a lot of poke here.
I think a lot relies on Aurelia. I mean, definitely things can happen. Lanes can snowball out of control, and our predictions mean nothing. But that's That's what the comps shout out to me.
And interestingly, in the Sona spell, something that we almost feel is a very European sort of sentiment, but both AP mids, in fact, have summon and teleport.
And it feels like a further evolution of the short mid lane. Mid lane is safe, that's why the AP champions go there to pick up their levels. Recently at least, junglers have mostly been keeping away from the mid lane. You still see Vi and Malphite as common champions who like to gank mid, but most other champions don't. So it's just an evolution of push out your lane, pick champions with strong wave clear, then teleport for those counter ganks.
Yeah, ward's going down there. Nif will spot all of MYM actually moving through here, but a pink ward getting thrown down there as Grassring Roots will go in. So MYM going to get exclusive vision of that entrance. You have to think that SK may be scared of an invade here, but they're looking at maybe a counter invade instead. They're actually going to see that Kubon is around the mid here now on Rumble. And looks like MYM, yeah, they're doubling back to their own blue buff. I think they thought, trying to mind game SK a little there. Thought they were going to go back to their own blue. But now they spot them, the wards go down. The pink ward though goes down as a counter ward for SK. And apparently there's a very contested spot of brush because both teams now have used a pink ward to clear that out.
And the evolution of the meta continues here. Rumble, a champion who is all about building AP. Still starting red pot here to deal, just to have that ability to instantly heal, to have more damage on his auto attacks, because of course Rumble, of all melee AP champs, he really loves to auto attack if he gets his passive going, if he overheats. So, and it looks like he's going in a 1v2 lane. So with a gank here, Rumble popping that red bot can do surprising damage early.
Yeah, it also thankfully gives him some sustain as well. So he's got red pot 5 wards and a sight ward here, so he'll feel pretty comfortable down here. As you said, one of the biggest things about Rumble's renaissance sort of into the meta was that people realize he's actually quite a good 1v2 champion, and he's going to be in that situation here, as both junglers actually starting on the red side. They're both monoliths, so I guess they're going to give up their blues, at least in the early stages, but Herkbot's going to pick up red. He may even go for a level 2 gank here. And Mundo likely going to either keep farming his jungle, or if he does want to enter a lane, he might not gank, but Mundo is really, really good at pressuring other laners by just walking in there and throwing cleavers and just being a presence. So looks like they're going to give that up though. Maybe a fast level 3 is going to come out here instead for the jungle.
I think Zaru's item start here really betrays what he's about in this lane. We talk so much about the power of Kayle, especially from level 2 onwards, to just pop down that Reckoning and trade in a manner that almost no mid laner can really encounter that harass with. But Zaru's actually picked up an equal amount of health pots and mana pots here. 3 mana pots to go with a Fairy Chime suggests to me that once he starts to feel any sort of pressure, he's going to sit back, he's going to use his massive range and just try and CS and get through the laning phase.
And a lot of the more successful responses that we've seen to Kayle are actually longer range champions. We saw, at least in the Star Sword League when we were casting, that Jace actually did quite well against Kayle just because of the same sort of principle, was able to farm at long range pretty comfortably. And you're right, if Sharu does feel that pressure, he's able to just, okay, I'll sit on my tower, lurk as a power, and then throw out my Q, and I'll be good from there. And you can see that trading here, actually Sharu getting a little bit aggressive, but that trade's mostly equal for both of them. Actually hits a nice Q there on the end with the Arcano Pulse, so trades up there against Ocelot. Now Herkbot's coming in the mid. This could be a very elegant bait actually here from Ocelot, but looks like Sharu might know what's up. No, never mind. He is standing on the wrong side now. Now Herkbot's going to come in. Ocelot looking to go for it, but a great flash out there from Xerath.
A very late reaction flash there. It was very well timed. He didn't want to use it, but forced out. Smart play.
Yeah, realized he was about to get Shadow Dash and say, hey, I can flash this. So, clutch reactions there from Sharu. And now he's actually going to
turret damage seems to be the order of the day for both duo lanes here.
Yep. So you can see a little bit of damage down the bottom as Makata actually comes down to the bottom just to help out Rumble here. And Aurelia also getting pushed in, also took a bit of damage from Twitch in there as well, actually just regenerating back over to half health with a potion. So under half now for the turret in top lane as well. So I want to do which one will fall first. These 2v1 lanes are often determined by the speed at which you're pushing. Assuming you are going to push and not try and deny the enemy laner, which we have seen as well in 1v2 situations, then often if you can get the tower down and then move through the other lane and protect that tower before it falls, you often find yourself in a pretty good spot because you're essentially just an outer turret up.
And I guess the jungle matchup here is something we haven't seen in competitive play for a while. It's, a farm jungler versus really a level 6 counter ganker in Shen. Shen, he has a very good level 2 gank, the taunt's very strong, but after that, usually relegated to spending time in his own jungle. Dr. Mundo, more of a power farmer than a ganker. Don't get me wrong, if you hit that cleaver, if you can hit multiple cleavers, you can definitely get a successful gank off, but defined by the Burning Agony max that we have Simakade bringing out here.
Yeah, and Kevin in the top lane there gets a nice little stun there with the Equilibrium Strike onto Makla, but sadly Herkbot with no flash after the gank and mid is going to be in trouble, and now Ocelot could be in trouble here as well. Is forced to flash there as the stun was coming in from Mage Chance, but managed to flash before he got stunned and before the cleaver came in, and now neither mid laner has that flash available.
The turret damage so equal across lanes here. The difference here, Rumble does not have anyone to help, so you have to think SK will be able to bully this turret down first.
Yeah, I mean, Makata was down here earlier, but I think they're going to fall around the same time at this point, and I guess we'll have a game where the solo laners are now farming in a situation where they don't have a turret, potentially, because it's likely that both duo lanes will want to move out. Looks like top lane Herkbot is going in there as well. Kevin actually pretty low. He's got to be careful. Gets ignited as well. Makla activates his barrier. Kevin now trying to get out of the way, realizing that he is quite low. And bottom lane, actually, we've got more trouble as Mundo's going in there onto Candy Panda. He's fortunate they're burning that barrier away. Wanted to make sure Mundo wasn't going to kill her. And Candy Panda gets the turret down bottom as well. Looks like both turrets actually going to fall here, as both solo top laners, or solo laners in this instance, are going to just walk away from their turrets. Herkbot's trying to defend in top lane, but I don't think he's going to be able to stop this push.
And Makla showed an aggressive streak. I don't see out of a lot of AD carries there. He knew, or very much suspected, that Aurelia was still around the turret. He was still within very close range, within his 550 auto attack range, trying to hit that turret down, and then used his flash to escape a turret taunt there. Usually a lot of AD carries will just back away. They'll want to hold on to that escape summoner and to fight another day, but he really wanted to get the turret down. That's what he was tunneling on. And the aggressive play, it doesn't net him a turret, but doesn't give him his life either.
Interestingly, they've actually swapped over now, so the turret in top lane's still up here for SK. I mean, Herkbot's defending is defended well. In fact, Kevin's coming back now as well. And the dual lane's actually gone down bottom now for Michi Makers, and we'll kind of have the game kind of settle into the lanes you'd expect, except, of course, a turret is down in the bottom for SK, or for MYM at this point. So,
and of course, the gold lead comes out for SK.
Oh, yeah, to be expected. About 800 gold though, mainly due to that global gold that turret's giving. And you know, Makla's got to be careful. He's a little bit vulnerable now. And spotting 2 top, MYM wisely moving onto Dragon here. They had a control here as well with the pink ward. So sadly, with that ultimate, Mundo's going to not be able to tank this all that well. In fact, they're just going to have to give it up already. So a nice little spot there from SK, realizing what was going on. Managed to get the rest of MYM off Dragon, but a good call nonetheless, noticing that Shang was top.
Yeah, as you point out, Dr. Mundo, he really needs 6 to be able to tank Baron for an extended period at these low levels, but not available.
Yeah. Dragon as well, but he'll tank.
My apologies.
He'll tank Baron just fine as well. Once he gets
hasn't
some items
spawned
up.
yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
He's just sitting there at 15 minutes. He's like, I'm ready, guys. Come on, let's do it. But yeah, Mundo is very, very good at tanking the bigger buffs of the jungle. That's one of his biggest appeals as a jungler, actually. And Infected Cleaver does a lot of damage to big minions as well, so he gets a lot of value out of doing early Barons. But he's one of the few junglers where I almost expect the enemy team, if Mundo's on it, to try for a 20-minute Baron. Just because that's how powerful he is when it comes to big buffs.
Right now, not feeling so powerful, trying to tank the Golem experience there for Sharu, but falls dangerously low.
Yeah, Sharu actually got to finish the blue buff himself here. He probably feels a little bit hard done, but I was like, what are you doing, man? You're my jungler. You're supposed to tank the buff for me, but does pick the blue buff up regardless, and actually going for a pretty mana-intensive build here. Got Tear the Goddess up already, and I guess a Doran's Ring, just for a bit of regen, plus general power. I mean, no boots here for Sharu is potentially a little bit dangerous.
It is, but I don't know. He feels confident at least with his range, with the mini speed boost that Locus of Power offers to stay in lane, just stay back. He's got, he can CS farm the whole lane with the WQ combo there, so not too much to worry about.
No, and now he's got all the mana in the world to work with, which I'm sure he's very happy about. I'm assuming we'll see Seraph's Embrace eventually, not Muramana. I was trying to think in my head if there's any funky interaction I'm missing, but I don't think so.
Only one single target spell.
Yes, actually that's true. Sadly his ultimate doesn't count. That is most definitely an AoE. As fun as that would be.
I feel relieved more than sad about that.
I suppose, yeah.
Xerath doesn't need any help with long-range AoE nuking.
No, I suppose that's true. Looks like Cube 1 now. Doran's Blade up for him. Doesn't want to get Aurelia'd. It's actually about 15 CS behind at the moment, but he'll catch up soon. Flame Spitter just coming out here. Final lane against Kevin. Kevin actually with a pink ward there manages to get those wards. In fact, 2 pink wards up in the top lane for SK. That's pretty aggressive warding. And the tower's still up as well, remember, so Aurelia's probably going to have a lot of room up here to try and outlane Rumble. Which is good. I mean, Kevin, as we said, does need farm, does need items here in this situation, so looks like he's going to have a lot of room here to try and get what he needs.
And Hercubot throwing Convention to the wind, he's actually gone boost some abilities, so clearly he's feeling a gank or two.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty aggressive jungler, even on someone like Shen. With red buff now up as well. I think Kubon has to be careful. He could get dove here pretty comfortably. In fact, if he moves out for one more CS here, Hercubot's like, oh, I think he's a bit sad he moved out of that bush, but I have a feeling Kubon knows he's here. He's getting dangerously close to the bush. No, never mind. There's a Shadow Dash coming out. Equilibrium strike in there as well for the slow. And now Equalizer's going to go down, but Transcendent Blade should finish it up. And the teleport coming up in here as well for Shari. Can he turn it around? A great stun in there as well. Hopewhat's actually getting out with his ultimate, but he manages to flash out of... No, just walk out of the way there. And Ocelot re-teleporting in there as well. Shari, sadly, no other kills, or no kills at all. All 3 charges of his ultimate used and nothing to say for it, but... It was very close there. A nice teleport there from Sharu, but could not save Q1's life, who will get first blooded here.
And MYM going to try and take a counter dragon here. Now, Misfortune and Zara very healthy and both have strong AoE, so this will be contested.
Yep, Libbit going to have to flash out of the way there. Bullet time coming in as well there for Candy Panda, but Mundo does get the dragon. Crescendo coming out there from Libbit. Makata flashes out of the way. Ocelot chasing down the support. Going to get himself 1 kill. Can he get a second? Makata hit there by the grasping roots. Will go down there to Candy Panda, who flashes forward to get in double up range. It looks like Twitch actually having fun now, or maybe not so much as Hercbot. Looks like he's going to chase down the rat as well. An attempted juke there by Makla, but the Vorpal Blade will spot him, and sadly Twitch's very tricky juke there into the enemy jungle is going to have to end here. And SK looking to get a turret out of this as well. Sharu finally gets the weakened top turret there, but SK, they're going to get this middle outer turret from pretty much full health.
4 kills in a turret for Dragon is a wonderful, wonderful trade for SK here. Looking very confident at the 11-minute mark.
They'll take it. Nice little group there, and they'll get the Dragon time, but they'll hopefully be able to contest the next one. And as you said, had a great trade there for them. In fact, I think double blue buff might be up now as well. I can't find the other one, so I could be wrong there. But SK looking good. This is the kind of advantage they need. They're about 2,000 gold ahead. So it's just a matter of them, you know, trying to stretch this advantage even more as this game goes on. And MYM, they're running out of safe places to farm now with those 2 outer turrets down. I have a feeling that SK might want to go for the last outer turret up in top lane, but we'll have to see. The dual lane's actually heading mid right now, interestingly enough. But I guess Candy Panda saw some fun.
And against the double AP comp here, we might see a Wit's End Rush coming out of Aurelia. You know, an item that we wouldn't have batted an eyelash about in the middle of Season 2, but definitely an item that's massively fallen out of favor in the competitive scene.
Yeah, I mean, I saw 2 null magic mantles in Kevin's inventory earlier. I was wondering what the second one was for. The first, obviously for the Mercury treads there, and yeah, I'm like, okay, he's landing Rumble. He maybe just wants to be aggressive and trade well, so he needs a magic resist. But you're right, Wit's End looked like it's going to come out here. In the lane matchup, I think it's actually quite good here for Kevin. And as he pointed out, there's actually 2 APs on MYM's side as well. So,
and the majority of Dr. Mundo's damage is his cleavers, and his burning agony is also magic damage.
Yeah, I mean, ever since they nerfed Trinity Force and made it cost us a little bit more, I feel like Aurelius have realized that going straight for Trinity Force just isn't... It's not smooth enough of a build, if that makes sense. And they feel like they kind of need a mid-tier item to kind of bridge the gap between having 0 gold and then needing 4,000 gold for Trinity Force. And I think Wit's End is something that's coming back as a result, just because it's such a great kind of middle-of-the-road, reasonably cost-effective item here. Is Makata going to get completely caught there by the grasping roots. Ocelot easily able to pick that one up there on Kale with a bit of help, extra help damage-wise from Candy Panda. Not that he really needed it, but poor Mundo there, even with all his health, got absolutely smoked there.
And while I would agree with you, I mean, the change in Trinity Force cost means it's now cheaper, and with the latest PB units, maybe even further cheaper. I mean, Phage is a bit more expensive. That's probably the big nerf, the 150 damage increase in price on Phage. That's why you don't see that as an early pickup on first back for top laners. But Trinity Force is back for extra time.
Okay. I mean, I agree with your reasoning about Wit's End anyway. I think it makes a lot of sense here in this particular... in the matchup here, where Kevin does have to fight through quite a lot of magic damage. And also, I mean, he is quite an aggressive player. I think he does want to outlane Kubon here as best he can, and Wit's End's certainly going to help on those lines. He's a little bit ahead on CS right now as Makla down the bottom lane, going to get completely owned there by Candy Panda.
And there's no red wards on the map here in their own jungle. And the exclusive vision that SK has, they're picking up face check and pick after pick.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 vision wards in MYM's jungle at the moment that SK have put down. I'm going to go for this turret in here as well. Maybe you're going to get it. Interestingly, Candy Panda now activates Impure Shots. But Equalizer coming down there for Rumble. Herport gets out there. Nifto gets clipped by Mage Chains plus Arcane Barrage. Still not dead somehow. Auto attack's now coming in. Dodges the Electro Harpoon. Dodges the Arcano Pulse as well. And now Bullet Time in there. Kubon finally gets the kill with Flame Spitter. As Ludic there tanks a little bit of Rise of the Thorns. Passive damage. Ocelot though in mid. Now pushing down with his National's Tooth. Almost gets the tier 2 turret there.
And Kevin will secure the top turret with the recurve there.
Maybe that was his plan all along. And just busy with the CS first. As always. Just trying to deny a few more. Whoever's coming up here. In this case, Makata's going to try and defend, but he's not going to be able to stop these minions. And even if he could, Kevin, all he needs to do is actually waiting to make sure. Although he may even just go in on here on Mundo. Yeah, looks like he wants to. Better Cleaver. We'll stop all the shenanigans. In fact, Kevin's just not leaving top lane.
Twitch is going for something in mid here. He smartly changes his mind and backs away.
Yeah, Rumble Ultimate not available. It's always scary to try and kill a KO because that you burst her down and the intervention comes out and you feel very sad. And if Backler dies any more here on Twitch, he's not going to be having. He's just going to be having even less fun than before. Kevin now getting ganked though by a couple of people. Ocelot though teleports in, intervenes Kevin as well, and now Kubon in a lot of trouble. Who is going to go down to the damage of Kevin and Makata? He's going to have to be careful here. Kevin trading blows back and forth, but he's got enough here to tank it all up, and Ocelot's going to pick up that kill there. So beautiful use of the teleport there from Kale. And you know we talk about intervention's pretty massive cast range. That was a hyper extension of that intervention.
Wits End is completed on Aurelia here. Picks up a Ruby Crystal, so of course that's a bit ambiguous as to what we'll see next. Could be a Phage.
Could be. Would you expect Trinity Force from Aurelia still? It's been so long since I've seen Aurelia that I didn't know if Trinity Force was still the thing.
I defer to Kevin. He's part of the duo of really experienced classic Aurelia players. I'm sure he'll show us the way in terms of the current Aurelia build.
Well, he's gone for Wits End, which is, as you said, a very intelligent choice here, given the matchup that he's facing comp-wise. SK now looking for Dragon as well, throwing out the pink claw there, making sure they've got no contestants here for vision. It's going to be a little bit slow here, but Candy Panda with enough damage. Herport plenty of sustain on Shen. And looks like they are going to be able to pick this up. He does have Smite, so he should be able to finish it. Mundo, they're looking for it, but doesn't quite find the Smite. And Shadow Dash over the wall is going to save Herport there if he needs to use it. But it looks like he's actually just going to be able to recall anyway. And Candy Panda walks out.
So the danger right now for MYM is, I mean, you can see the kill advantage, you can see the gold, it's there, but the items are probably the most telltale thing. If you look across the MYM items, there's really no completed, even mid-tier item. I mean, Haunting Guy is the only mid-tier item completed here for MYM.
Tara gonna farm up. I guess Haunting Guys with the percentage magic penetration you get from Locus of Power, that was probably the bit that everyone was like, wait a second, that's really, really good. Because everyone knows what Xerath's kit does at face value, but just the amount.
The pickup makes complete sense. It's just, it's a completed Haunting Guys against a Wits End, a Locket of the Iron Solari, Nashor's Tooth, and a Bloodthirster.
Makler here. He's actually going to, I think, maybe get out, because they threw down a pink ward trying to gank Twitch, and he ambushed away just out of range of the Vision Ward, and the rest of SK couldn't catch him. So Twitch, yeah, he will speed his way out here. But yeah, you're right, there's just nothing major. I mean, there's Wits End already, Lock It Up for Shen, Nashor's Tooth completed on Kale with, I think, Lichbane on the way for Ocelot, interestingly.
It's definitely an item that's worth considering just for the massive burst potential. It's kind of a style choice of whether you go for that Death Cap early or a Lichbane. Lichbane obviously cheaper and gives you move speed, so that does, yes, appear to be the pickup coming here.
Yeah, and of course Bloodthirster plus Brutalizer already up for Misfortune as well, with Bloodthirster not even completed yet on Twitch, so MYM.
And that's not a utility Misfortune build necessarily just yet. You know, the Black Cleaver's not finished, but damn if it doesn't do a lot of damage at this point.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, Brutalizer was a popular choice just because it was a cost-effective AD item that helped you do, just gave you a lot of good stats, and now it does actually build into an item that AD carries want to build. So even if he doesn't upgrade it quickly, he eventually can get it if he wants to. And looks like Blue Buff going to go over there to Candy Panda. I think Ocelot wanted that one, maybe as a refresh.
And it feels like SK here playing a lot, very comparably to Anexus, who managed to beat SK in their first game here. They're controlling the buffs with warding and advanced warding very, very well here. No blue buffs for Sharu. And again, this is a lot of what we saw yesterday. It's once a team gets an advantage, aggressive warding, picking up on oracles, and just starving the enemy of any sort of resource to farm.
So if you're MYM in this case, what do you do?
Hope and pray.
That doesn't sound like a very good plan. But, I mean,
No.
you're kind of right. I mean, if they can find farm and get some items up, they do have a pretty good way of actually engaging on SK. I mean, the lack of hard engage might actually be hurting them here, because they only really
That's not a reflection of their team comp, the hope and pray. It's just, 5 turrets to 1 down, completed items to still items being developed. They can't force a team fight here. They're just looking for a mistake.
So is this the point where you think, okay, we just have to hold on and farm till late game? Has it gotten to that point already?
We'll watch. If they can finish some of these big items, specifically the Infinity Edge on Twitch, and whatever it is that Xerath's looking to complete first. The Haunting guys, Xerath will still do a lot of damage in a team fight, because he has good base damage. His magic penetration is off the charts at this point. But, I mean, the Rumble's only doing base damage, doesn't even have a Haunting guys up, and Dr. Munda's just not tanky enough to sit in the bullet time just yet.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here that really adds to this the complete control SK have of this map is the towers. It's 6-1 as Herkbot gets the last tier 2 turret there down in the bottom lane of Shen. And I mean, he's not really going for a split push build. He's definitely kind of a cost-effective tanky utility item here. He's definitely fulfilling the support jungler role more than anything here with this build. But I mean, he can still, push, I suppose, if he wants to, and just be a nuisance and make sure the lanes are being pushed at some point. And of course, he can join his team at any time with his ultimate. So it's not quite, split push Shen, but if he wants to, he can do that for his team as well. It just makes it even harder.
So much burst damage coming out from Ocelot here. The Lich Bane Q auto was over half of Sona's health.
Yes. And Libic there, pretty lucky to be alive. Didn't actually burn her ultimate, interestingly enough, but Ocelot doesn't really lose a whole lot by that. He just finds a Sona in the jungle, bursts her down, and almost got himself an Oracles, actually, but I guess he was afraid of the rest of the team being there. Oh no, this should be bad news for Twitch. Mackler there, spotted by the Oracles. Bullet time coming over the top. It is going to kill Twitch. Candy Panda there. Last few ticks of bullet time managed to pick that one off. And poor Twitch, you think you're safe when you're invisible, but Nif's Oracles there, sniffing him out.
They're going to try and aggress onto Baron here. The plants will do a bit of tanking. They did not manage to pick up the ward here in the ridge of the red buff. So MYM are well onto what's happening here. It's just, do they have an answer? They only have 2 members around to try and contest it.
Yeah, I mean, Shara has teleport, but there's standing out in from Kevin. He wants to actually fight here and join this here with his team. Shara's going to have to teleport him pretty soon. Libic, though, getting popped there by Kevin as a Blade Surge goes over the wall. And now Ocelot's going over the top as well. Makat is in trouble. SK are off Baron. They're just trying to get some kills here if they can. The Equalizer goes down there to chase out Kale. And so SK, they're going to continue going on. Baron, he regenerated quite a lot of health. But Ocelot's trying to zone everybody else out here. Rumble needs to watch out. He does not want to take too much damage from Kale. Shara is still not teleporting in here. Although I don't think he has a ward that he could jump close enough to at this point, unfortunately. And SK, they cleaned out the rest of the wards, and even with Shara being able to join them, MYM just gave up that Baron.
Yeah, look, Charo, when the war was on, he didn't have much of an answer. He can push waves very well. His autos obviously doing respectable damage, but not quite the accomplished split pusher like Kale.
No, and I mean, I assume that Misha Makers just decided that, hey, we don't want to contest for this Baron, because it's not like he was just out of position and SK went in to realizing that they, could try and Baron 5v4. Charo had teleport, and they know that. They know the cooldown's on, so they could have, if they wanted to, tried to 5v5 there under that Baron, but for whatever reason, MYM just decided, hey, we're too far behind. We're just going to lose the team fight here and fall even further behind. You can have Baron. We'll just try and keep farming.
And Kevin's build here, picking up the second Giant spell, suggests to me that they want to finish this game in the next 10 minutes. He could have finished an item, but he thought, no, this will get me tanky enough. He took a look at the enemy items. The Infinity Edge finally completed here. The Archangel stuff. There is some damage on the MYM side, but a double Giant spell, Ruby Crystal Aurelia with this Wit's End is going to be able to waltz into the enemy team and last a very, very long time. And hell, even Intervention and Shen's ult available if that goes wonky.
All the shields. And Candy Panda decided that he didn't really want a Black Cleaver. He's gone for Last Whisper instead. So he's got lots and lots of armor pen as well. I mean, him and Kale can team up quite nicely. And they'll do a lot of damage to any single target that they try and go onto.
SK's still splitting really hard here. I mean, Aurelia doesn't have teleport up. Shen, Stand United isn't up for Shen, but they're both super confident that MYM isn't going to look to engage or even trade damage anywhere away from their turrets.
Well, at this point, Shen's ultimate, it's not up yet, but it'll be up soon, and who really wants to 1v1 Kevin? Absolutely nobody on MYM. And yeah, I mean, as we've seen a lot here, actually, you don't need to force a team fight if you're ahead. You have no incentive to potentially, mis-execute a team fight. Unless your comp is really slanted towards team fighting and, you have like a 5 AoE comp and you have to actually group up and fight the enemy 5v5, like, if you can split push, it's usually a good idea to, because it's a much safer way of winning the game. You end up...
And that's probably the only time we've seen... Oh, as we see Charo dived onto here.
Yeah, luckily able to flash out of that ball time, which definitely would have killed him there at that point. Sandrinad is up here for Herkbot as well, so he can go on. There's a crescendo going to hit onto Nif. Do they want to go in? Charo, the intervention comes out from Ocelot, and Sandrinad as well. Didn't quite coordinate those ultimates. I think one of them would have been enough there to save Nif, and it's kind of funny to see that many ults being blown on his support, but they want to make sure they've still got presence here.
Ocelot has the heals up. He has 40% CDR. The heal, 3 points in it right now. Healing for 250. That's decent sustain for the low health Nif.
Yeah. I mean, it's on a low enough cooldown, as you say, with all that CDR that you can just spam it out. Candy Panda taking a little bit too much damage. I think SK want to back off here. They've been poked down quite hard here. I mean, the Baron regen's going to really kick in here as well. They can shake off a lot of poke as a result. Kevin actually staying up here, just aggressively forward. Trying to make sure SK have enough information. And they're just going to pick up red buff and keep pushing, I think.
And from the games we've cast, I think it's only the teams who have picked, 4 melee champions, really team fight heavy champions and gotten ahead. Those are the only teams who haven't been able to convert their advantage into a victory. We saw Pain yesterday, so close against winning a second game against Fnatic, but their comp just didn't really have the range to siege, whereas a much more balanced comp coming out here, a lot of damage coming out here, but again, kind of trivial to the SK team.
Yeah, and this tower's going to go down here in top lane. Shara uses his ult there to try and do a bit of damage on the Candy Panda. Mackliner getting dove on there as well. There's just so much damage in here from SK, and Herkbot does finally pick it up there onto Twitch. This inhibitor going to go down in very short order here for SK Gaming. And they had a bit of a rough game up against a Nexus, but looks like they are going to be able to take the win here. I mean, MYM, it would take an incredible amount of work, a miraculous amount almost, for them to win at this point.
Well, they just don't have any ace in the hole. They don't have, and that's not a Caitlyn reference here, they just don't have any champion who's fed, any champion with big items who can really turn a game here. Again, they're relying on SK to back off and give them 5-10 minutes solid of farming.
Which they're most certainly not going to get. I mean, I don't see SK just AFKing for 5 minutes and letting MYM farm up. They're certainly a team that's experienced enough to know that A, how to close the game, and B, that they should here, because they're able to. I mean, it might take them, they might push a little more, they might keep split pushing the other two lanes that still have inhibitors up, but SK are going to be winning this game in short order, or at least certainly trying to, and it's going to be very, very hard for MYM to stop them.
I mean, this Aurelia, we talked about Aurelia as kind of the key point to SK's team. Has a Warmox, has a Giant's Belt on top, plenty of magic resist. I mean, once he starts ordering, let's have a look at what magic resist is at now. He's at, 138 magic resist with the maxed out Wits End magic resist. No one's going to be able to kill Kevin. And again, he has those crutches in Shen and KL to go with that. And Aurelia will just jump on the more convenient target of Xerath and Makler, and then MYM will lose the fight.
Yep, the 138 MR, by the way, doesn't factor in Runic Bulwark, which will also give Kevin even more magic resist. For a total of, I think, 168. Oh man, Nif here, maybe going to get popped. Great intervention there from Ocelot. That was absolutely stellar. And poor Xerath, he's got great burst damage, he's got great range, but just completely denied there by Kale. And Shara, he's trying to push out these turrets, he's trying to push the creep waves out. But SK here, they're just going to split the other two lanes. As I said, there's no real reason for them to have to teamfight.
Even though realistically at this point they could turret dive happily.
Yes,
as long as Kevin, of course, was taking the turret.
Yeah, I mean, even Shen also does a pretty good team.
Herkbot could also do a very respectable job.
But if they don't need to, they might as well try and win the safest way possible. They certainly don't want to get to this point in the game and have it snatched away from them. It's happened before.
That it has.
That it has. So SK here, just kind of going through the motions almost. I mean, MYM, if they get maybe 10-15 more minutes in this game, then it could be a different story. But the advantage that SK have built for themselves in this game is just monumentous. And they might even go for the second Baron, actually. It should be up pretty soon, and it'll be very hard for MYM to leave their base and try and contest for it.
And that seems to be what they're doing here. They want to secure the next Baron, and then they'll either take it slow or they'll throw caution to the wind, use the regen and tankiness. I mean, even Kale, instead of going for extra damage after the National Lich Bane, has picked up a Giant's Belt here. With the regen, with the ults they have, I can see them just tire diving with this Baron buff.
Herkbot actually split pushing bottom right now, just essentially trying to distract them. Took away the blue buff there as well, which they gave to Misfortune. Just again trying to keep more resources away from Micho Makers. And that Baron is going to go down. So the second Baron is on now for SK. Shari here is like, oh goodness, they have Baron. Herkbot, in fact, even looking a bit frisky. Like he wanted to maybe 1v1 Shari there, but just wards are plenty, pink wards being thrown down. There's so much map control here for SK, and it's been like this for about, I'd say maybe 10 to 15 minutes at this point. Certainly at least 10 minutes.
And this Baron buff is definitely the signal for SK Candy Panda and teams.
As Crescendo, they want to go in. Candy Panda, though, getting Invention and Stand United on. Libic very low, gets picked off there by Kevin as the damage comes out. Candy Panda over the top with a bullet time. And I mean, MYM threw everything more or less there trying to get that one kill on a support, and even they couldn't do it that time. So on to Candy Panda.
The Baron buff regen, the Runic Bulwark regen, it's all going to come into effect.
Yep, and SK just continuing on here. They know that MYM used a lot of cooldowns. They may want to wait for their creep waves a little here, but they won't have to wait too long. I mean, Shara's doing a good job with the long range, poking down the creep waves, poking down the enemy, but the Baron buff regen, the strength that SK have now. There's the flash stun. Gets two of them there as Shara and Kubon get taunted off by Shen. Shara going to go down there to Kevin as Ocelot actually picks up the damage. Makler just does not know what to do. He's got ambush. He maybe wants to kill Nifir, but it'll basically just be a small victory here for MYM. And in fact, SK, they're going to make sure this game happens. They're going to not take any chances at all, take out every single structure that MYM have. And all they can really do at this point is watch.
Without Zerathal, there's no correct move apart from giving things up. I mean, once you give up your third inhibitor, you're basically giving up the game, but, you know, what recourse do they have?
Well, as I said, it was going to be a tough game for MYM to win regardless. Looks like SK just going to move in for the final blow now. Nexus turret's pretty low. Makler almost got out of position, flashes out of the shadow dash. Bullet time in there as well as Reckoning goes in onto Makata. And they're just going to take out the last few Nexus turrets here. Shari not even back up yet. He's got 5 seconds left. And SK, they can DPS the Nexus. They can pick up more kills if they want. But it is going to be their game here. And Meteor Makers, who upset EG on the main stage, do fall to SK here in this game. And that is, I think, what everybody was looking for when they saw SK into this tournament.
14-1 in kills, 11